Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. In this episode, I will be upgrading and replacing my Omada OC220 with Omada OC300. This process will show you how to do a live cutover if you're going to replace an existing working controller. In this use case, I am upgrading my OC220 with OC300, and the OC220 is currently the active controller in my Omada network. But before jumping into the configuration, I will be showing you the diagram of the setup to better understand the process. This is the current setup that I have right now. I have an ER605 gateway, I have a D-Link switch, and I have the OC220 in here. It is important to note that there are other network devices in this network. I'm just not showing it in this diagram. In this diagram, I have the trunk VLAN, which is represented by the purple color. I have the management VLAN here. And I have a system VLAN, which is the default VLAN where my admin PC, this PC that I'm using for recording, is currently connected. Let's switch onto the lab setup. This is the lab setup. You can see that the OC300 is connected to the same D-Link switch. So the gateway, the OC300, and the OC220, as well as my admin PC, are all interconnected into this D-Link switch. And you can see here the IP address for the OC220 is 192.168.100.101, and the OC300 is 192.168.100.100. Those are the crucial IP addresses for this network diagram. And the final result should be like this. The OC300 will be the one actively controlling all the Omada devices in this network. If you're looking at the mini screen, these are the physical devices that I have discussed on the diagram. I have the OC220, I have the ER605, and I have the OC300. 1, 2, 3 devices. All of these devices are connected to this D-Link switch. So the ER605 is connected via this cable. And this is the trunk VLAN, and this is the OC300, this green cable. This white cable is the OC220, and this one is my admin PC. All of these devices are linked in the D-Link switch. Now that I've covered the physical topology as well as the physical connectivity and the devices, let me jump onto the Omada console. Now we are in the Omada console. I have two Omada consoles open in here already. One is the OC220 and the other one is the OC300. The OC300 is using the light theme, and the OC220 is using the dark theme. The OC220 already have several sites in here, and the OC300 doesn't have anything in here. Before doing any changes to your configuration, make sure that you back up the configuration of your stable configuration to make sure that you can always revert back to it if and when things go wrong. Having said that, you would like to make sure that your controllers have the correct settings. Just go to settings, controller settings, and I just want to make sure that my IP is correct. I'm using 192.168.100.101, and I'm using a static IP. Same time zone, I'm in DST. Those are the crucial things for me to check. Now I'm going to OC300 and do the same thing. I'll just check the settings. Settings, controller settings. OC300, I have a static IP. I have the correct IP addresses. Everything seems looking good. And I'll go to system settings. The next thing I would like to check is the firmware to see if I'm running the latest firmware. And I'm scrolling down and I'm going to make sure that I'm using a stable release channel, and then I'll click check for upgrade. It says everything's up to date, and I'll do the same thing for my OC220. Settings, system settings, stable release. I'll check for upgrade, and everything is okay. So those are the things that I always check, making sure that I have the correct time zone, location, as well as whether I have the latest firmware, just to make sure that everything is updated. Now I'm going to the actual steps of the controller migration. Your process starts with your original controller. In my use case in this video, I'm using an OC220 to upgrade to OC300. I'll go to settings and then migration. And in here you will see that there's a side migration and a controller migration. I'm going to upgrade the whole controller, not just a side, so I'm going to do a controller migration. I'll just click start. And in here it's telling me that I need to export the controller. I can back up these contents, the settings, user info, authenticated clients, and firmware. I'll just click export in here. says here it's an unverified, so I'll just download the file. Let me open the folder. This is Omada backup 6.1.0.13. It says here the next step will be to log into the target controller and go to maintenance, backup and store, and upload the backup file of your controller. That's what I'm going to do. I'm already logged in. I'll just go to settings, maintenance, and backup and store. Settings, maintenance, and I'll click browse. In here, this is the same file that I downloaded January 8th. So making sure that it's the actual file. Click open, and then I'll click restore. Make sure you follow and heed the warnings in here. For this video, I'll just continue to restore. It says here success, and it reloaded the page. I went to devices. It will show that all my devices are disconnected because all of these devices are still tied to the OC220, and we need to continue the migration so that all of these devices will now be bounded to the OC300. Now that it's loaded, I need to go back to OC220 and continue the process. In here, I need to click confirm, and it will show me all the list of devices. Let me sort it by site. Now from here, what you can do is just migrate devices. I suggest if you have a large site that you do it very carefully. I usually do it from the inside out, meaning I'll do it from the gateway and then to the switches and then to the access point, because the access point is usually the last part of the connection between all of those devices. You have to have your network diagram to properly execute that. So in this video, I'll just show you a very simple way of doing it. I'll start with the ER8411, and the reason for that is because for this site there's only one device. I'll do that. I'll unselect everything else and I'll just select ER8411. The ER8411 in here, this one, it shows disconnected, so I'll migrate this single device. To migrate the device, you have to enter the IP address of the target controller. So 192.168.100.100. Let me copy here so that I'm making sure that it's the correct IP address. Now that I'm ready, everything seems to be okay. I'll just click migrate devices and I'll just click confirm, and in here it will show disconnected. Don't click forget devices yet. You have to go back to your OC300 and make sure that it is being adapted properly. Let me go to OC300 and I'm looking here at the ER8411. So let me just do a refresh. Now that I have refreshed it, it's showing configuring. Everything seems to be working correctly. Now it shows connected. Once your device shows connected in here, you can safely forget the device from your old controller. I'll go back to OC220 and you can see here it's disconnected, and I'll just click forget devices and click forget, and then I'll click done. Now the ER8411 is properly configured on this side. If I go to ER8411 in here, it should show up on my side. There you go. Now the other devices will still not be migrated over here because I still haven't done anything yet. I'll just click start here again. Now that I have already exported the data, I don't have to do the export again. I'll just click skip here because I have already done that, and I'll just click confirm here, and now I'll sort by name again. I'll start with the 707 because this one has one gateway and two switches. I'll unselect all of them. I'll migrate the gateway first, then followed by the switches. Go. It's confirm. It's configuring, and once it shows connected, then I can forget that device from the other controller. And there you go, it's connected. Now I can forget it here. Forget devices. Forget. And I'll click done, and I'll just do it much faster this time around. 707. This time around I'm going to do 2 devices, confirm, and I'll go back here, double click a refresh, and you can see here it's configuring. AS02-SGT428X shows connected, and it's now just waiting for the other switch. And now the ER707 site, shows all devices as connected. You can see here the AR8411 should still show as connected. There you go. And the ER707 should show all devices connected. ER7406 will still show that everything is still disconnected, and I'll just go back to global and go to devices to see which ones are still disconnected. I'm going back to OC220 and forget the devices. Forget devices. Forget. Sometimes it just forget one device. If that happened like this one, just click forget devices again. Forget. Now you can see that's all gone. So I'll click done. I'll repeat the steps again for all of these, but this time around I'll migrate all the devices in one go. Start. I'm going to speed up this part of the video. On my OC300, there are only two devices that haven't been migrated yet, the ER605 and the distribution switch DS01-SG2008. And this is the reason why I need to use TPLINK, because this one, if I connect my device in here, I will lose full connection to all these devices. So I'll click start, I'll click skip, I'll click confirm, and there are only two devices in here, so I'll just click migrate devices in here. After putting in the IP address, migrate, click confirm. There you go. And okay, now it's showing adapting for the DS01. ER605 is still disconnected, and now ER605 is now showing adapting. It says configuring and provisioning for both. DS01 has fully restored connection to the OC300, and the ER605 is provisioning, configuring. There you go, it's now connected. The slowest device to configure is the ER605 and the access points. It's probably because they are the oldest part of my device in this setup. The final step will be to clean up my Omada OC220. So this one, I'll just have to click forget devices, click forget, and that's pretty much it. All the devices in here will be gone. There you go, there's no more device in here. It will still retain all the sites. It's just that it is now safe to shut down this controller. For example, what I'm going to do is system settings. So let's do that, and I'll reboot this device. Boot. And it will show that I still have full access and full control of all my devices. ER605 devices. There you go. Let me go to ER707. So I'm just checking if all the devices are reflecting on the new controller. There you go. And finally, last but not the least, ER8411. And there you go. So I think that's pretty much it from this video. I hope you learned something from this video. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you don't like this video, please give it a dislike. But do let me know what you don't like so that I can improve my video on future episodes. Thank you again for watching my video. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you and bye-bye.